At the avian senate, the Yellow-Vented Bulbul and the Pin-Striped Tit-Babbler are at an impasse. The Bulbul exhorts the flock to coexist with humans. The Tit-Babbler babbles his rhetoric. Nature should live in nature. Passions run high, voices are raised, and talents are subconsciously balled into fists. But one soft voice cools its call for unity. The gentle voice of the spotted dove. She is a halcyonic creature, a veritable being of peace and harmony and all things civil. The Bulbul and the Tit-Babbler momentarily cease their titanic battle of words and swivel to look at her, as do several other birds, anticipating a new development. The dove, generally unaccustomed to public speaking at the Senate, other than to have announced the presence of free food at some void deck for the enjoyment of her dearest colleagues, clears her throat and continues. If I may so kindly interrupt my fellow feathers, perhaps we can venture to coexist in both those. I too, like you, Mr. Babbler, live in the woods, but I am willing to live in areas like the parks or in the trees in the car parks like you do, Mr. Bulbul. Perhaps we could come to an agreement without such frightful displays of shouting and argument that never seem to end and don't do any good at all. Well, at this, many of the birds present nod in murmured agreement, and even the Bulbul and the Tit-Babbler, two previously sworn enemies, feel compelled to stand down. Seeing none of her fellow feathers object, her confidence builds, and she proceeds to lay out her plan for peace in the wild. My friends, why do we have to choose between root and roof? Perhaps we can learn to embrace all dwellings, as I have learned to. My ancestors learned to live in times of want and wealth. They served princes, priests, and paupers in various roles and capacities. The world keeps changing, but we have ever adapted to the circumstances demanded of us, ensuring our continued success as a species. Perhaps my friend the Bulbul might teach my colleague the Babbler how to feel the salty sea breeze while perched on the antennae of the highest hotels, as I have experienced. And perhaps the Babbler shall then teach the Bulbul how to forage off the floors of parks, as I have done. And then perhaps all of us can continue to dwell as one community, united in harmony and familial love for one another.
The plan sounds good to the rest of the birds, who chirp excitedly to one another. Or perhaps, just this time, the problem could be solved. But before the dove can expound further about her visions, she is suddenly cut off by a sudden patooey of spit.